The manager of the Metropolitan Opera recently said, "I've come to realise that there are only 3 stages of health for singers: catching a cold, recovering from a cold, or suffering from a cold." Now, it is true that singers tend to suffer more from colds than most people because that's their livelihood, their work, their careers, their reputations, everything depend on their voices. And so I thought it would be fun to look at how singers throughout history have dealt with sore throats, because I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a bit of a sore throat going round at the moment. And I hope that you haven't got it and that you're feeling fine and well. But just in case, here are some historical remedies. Now, starting in 1922, we've got Duval saying, "Don't sing when you're hoarse. Don't sing when your nose or throat is being treated with menthol in any form." He doesn't say what's wrong with menthol, but that's what we'd like to do, really, is to not sing. That's the best thing. If you've got a sore throat, is to not sing. And if you're Adelina Patti, then that's exactly what you do. She said, "The true secret of preserving the voice is not to force it and not sing when one ought not to. I never sang when I was not well enough, neither did I sing when I was doubtful of the condition of my voice. I simply went to bed and said that there was no one in. Managers came, besought, pleaded and entreated, but I was not well and I would not sing." Unfortunately, we don't all have that luxury. We don't have the clout that Patty had to just be able to go to bed however much we might want to. And as one of her contemporaries, Lily Lehman, said, "If you wish to sing only when you are in good form, you must excuse yourself 99 times out of 100. So what do you do if you've got a sore throat and you have to sing? Well, let's read about some of the remedies from history. The one that I've seen most commonly is raw garlic, which is fine if you like garlic. It's a bit of a shame if you don't. I do. I love garlic. And in fact, a few years ago, I developed a potion with lemon and honey and ginger and garlic, and would mix it all up with hot water and drink that. And I found that really helped. It's got quite a kick to it, but I think it's quite a pleasant taste. It's a bit unusual. So here is a 17th century manuscript. "Raw garlic clarifies the voice. Benzoin dissolved in water and drunk is good for roughness of the throat and refines a husky voice, as does sweet gum or gum of the storax tree." If you can hear any tapping and scratching, that's some birds trying to nest in the roof of my studio, by the way. So, fast forwarding several hundred years, my singing teacher used to tell me that if you had a sore throat, to breathe in steam, which is an old remedy. And usually what people do is they fill up a bowl with hot water, put their faces over it and cover their heads with a towel. You might have done that yourself. The problem with that, my teacher Ray told me, is it messes up your hair. So that's why she recommended Dr. Nelson's inhaler. And you can see the instructions written on it here. This is a very handy device. It's the same thing. You put hot water inside, you take out this cork, fill it up, you put the cork back in, and then you breathe through this tube here. This bit is so that you don't create a vacuum, I think. And it works pretty well. It certainly goes straight to where you need it. And Ray would also tell me to drop Friar's balsam in there, which you can get at your chemist. It's quite easy, quite cheap to get hold of. And this is a herbal remedy, which is also used for cleaning wounds before dressing. It is very sticky and very yellow, so anything it touches will turn yellow. You can see the bottle's gone a bit yellow. But what I have only just noticed this very moment from looking at this bottle, do you see what is written just under here? I don't know if you can read that. The ingredients: storax and benzoin. And what did we just read in this book? benzoin dissolved in water, or gum of the storax tree. So friar's balsam essentially has been used since the 17th century by singers to treat their throats. So there's got to be something in it, hasn't there? It definitely does sort of clear you out, breathing in the steam. And you can feel the friar's balsam really getting to all those harsh areas of the throat. For a slightly more modern take on Dr. Nelson's inhaler, I've got this steamer, which would be good if you were travelling and didn't have a kettle or a stove to heat up your water. You'd plug this in. This bit comes apart. You put your water in this little well here. Put that back on. You've got 2 settings. And you can fit about enough water in there to last about 10 to 15 minutes. And you could steam your whole face if you wanted, or you can just put in this little setting and fit your nose and mouth in there, and then you'll get all the steam. It works in the same way. You could put your friar's balsam in there and then have to scrub it out afterwards because, like I said, very sticky. So that's a slightly more modern interpretation if you can't find a Dr. Nelson's inhaler, but there are some around on the internet still. Now I'm just going to have a little more water. This is water with vitamin C in it. I'm taking lots of vitamin C and D at the moment. Very important. I recommend it to you too. It is quite sour though. But in the past, they didn't drink water so much. It wasn't as safe as it is now, with all that cholera going about. So what did they drink? What did singers drink? In fact, even now, I find that while you're singing, water isn't as beneficial as something thicker and more lubricating. You don't want something really sticky and clogging, but something a bit thicker than water does help to smooth over the chords. So that's why I was pleased to find an old suggestion. And in the name of science, I had to try it out myself, which was to drink sherry whilst singing, or Madeira. Sherry or Madeira were Malibran's preferred choices. So I always have a bottle of sherry in my studio now for when I'm singing, because it really does help, actually. You're not going to be drinking gallons of the stuff. You can have a little sip now and then. And the other thing that Malibran and also Christina Nilsson recommended was drinking porter whilst you're singing, which is quite also invigorating. But unfortunately I don't have any porter, but I have got my sherry. So we've taken our remedies, we've steamed, we've had a drink, and now what if our throat is still hoarse? Well, we can do some exercises. Do you want to join me in doing some exercises? Of course you do. We can start with a little humming, which is a good way to wake up the voice without putting too much strain on it. And when we hum, we're not just humming with our mouth closed and doing an we're actually doing an with the back of our tongue raised against the palate, and you're actually saying as in sing. So we can hum on those notes. Or down the octave if it's more comfortable, and then we can take it up a semitone and do it again. And keep going up. And you can keep going up as high as it feels comfortable with that one, but it doesn't have to be testing the extremes of your range when you're just starting out warming up. You want to just stick in the middle where it's comfortable. Now let's have a historical exercise from our friend Manuel Garcia. If you've watched any of the videos on this channel before, then you'll already know a little bit about Uncle Manny, as I call him. He had a solution for everything. So of course he knows what to do if you've got an unfocused breathy voice. This is for breathiness in general, not just if you have a sore throat, but it can also help if you've got some inflammation, to try and bring those chords together a bit more cleanly and more tightly. And then you're by singing in a comfortable, easy way, then you can actually bring down some of that inflammation. I find that it helps with the swelling and soothes and eases the throat. So this very serious, very important historical exercise consists of quacking. Quacking like a duck. In fact, a French duck, because he was writing this instruction in a mixture of Spanish and French. So it's not an English quack. It's more of a quack. It's a very hard G at the back of the throat. Quack, quack. And if you try that, just going quack, 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 you can feel the chords coming together quite firmly. And that's going to help to give you a much clearer sound. So we could do this by just singing on one note and doing several quacks. Here we go. Quack, 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 quack. Can you feel that making a nice clean note? Quack, 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 quack. 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 That's helping me a lot. I know that if I just went, ah, 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 I'd be quite breathy. You'd hear a lot of air escaping. But when I go, quack, 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 it's coming out much clearer. So what Garcia would then ask you to do is to sing a chromatic scale, or in quacks. So shall we try that? We can do it slowly. Quack, 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 quack. Quack, 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 quack. Now I think I can feel my voice clearing up and tightening up and getting better. If I were to try that without the quacks, let's see what would happen now. That's a much clearer sound than I started with. And I'm sure it will just get even clearer if I keep quacking all day. But that's not the only historical exercise we have. We're going to go back to Lily Lehman, who had an infallible cure for hoarseness, she claimed. She called it the Great Scale. So once you've done your quackings, you can go into the Great Scale. You could try and mix them up even. You could quack on the Great Scale if you wanted. Here she is. Here is the Great Scale that she's written out for us. So it's a very slow scale, and you take a break in the middle of it. And that's all it is. And she would go up 2 octaves with this scale, but we don't have to do all of that because that's quite a stretch to begin with. But we can start and we can do a couple of them. So we're just doing very long notes, halfway up and then the rest of the way up the scale, and then coming back down. The same thing, we're splitting it in 2. And coming back down again. It's also a really good one for teaching sustain through long notes and keeping a steady sound. I think it helps to try to use no vibrato or minimal vibrato so that you know that you really are keeping a steady sound and you're not covering up any little shakes in there. We can go up and do another one. I can feel my voice is starting to open out and wake up, and if you want to, you can carry on going all the way up the scale with that one as high as you can take it. and see if it works for you. So that's all the advice I have for today. I hope that helps if you are a singer or not, if you've got a bit of a sore throat, or if you just want to try some new exercises or some sherry, then you can. And remember to keep warm and keep your throat and chest warm, especially. And it's always a good idea for a singer to cover up their nose and mouth when going outside in the cold air anyway, to keep that protected, but especially at this time, it's a good idea to put something over your mouth when you go out, even just a scarf like this. And take lots of vitamin C, vitamin D, and peanut butter apparently. And get yourself some Friar's Balsam, because that's been working for singers for hundreds of years, so there must be something in it. And I'll see you again very soon for a song a day.